Sophie, at age 11 now, commands me a fair amount. You're better. She's a force of nature, and she'll say, do this, and I'll say, you can't tell me what to do, you're not mine. She'll say, yes, I am. So she said to me, write a song about a tall tree, and it's got to have imagery in it. And I said, imagery? Well, she's 11. She put her hand on her hip, and she said, you do know what a metaphor is, don't you? I said, I'll do my best. Oak tree soars above the forest floor, 3 times as tall as a giraffe. If I told you that tree was once a nut, I guess you'd want to check my math. Squirrel buried acorns, forgot about a few. One put down roots and grew. You know, an oak is just a nut that stood its ground. It kept eating sun, drinking rain, reaching for the crown. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. Sing it with me. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. In our work for justice on this planet, we are often 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like a locomotive climbing up a mountain, sometimes we feel rooted to the track. Every generation moves the work ahead, then they pass the torch off to the next. To do our best is all we can expect, because an oak is just a nut that stood its ground. It kept eating sun, drinking rain, reaching for the crown. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. Many drops of rain wear the mountain down. Brick by brick a building rises to the clouds. So if your road gets too rough to travel, if your hill gets too steep to climb, take 1 small step, then you rest and take another. Move ahead a little at a time. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. It kept eating sun, drinking rain, reaching for the crown. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. Last time. An oak is just a nut that stood its ground. Well, bless you. Thank you for coming out. To quote the great Tom Waits, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. It would have been a totally different experience without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Alan, Mark.